Hey there, fellow wanderers. Picture this. The inky night sky stretches above you, a velvet canopy dotted with jewels of starlight, as the warm breeze carries whispers of ancient secrets. You feel the gritty sand beneath your bare feet, its warmth cushioning every step. The air hums with the distant chant of 1,000 voices, a symphony echoing through the corridors of time. The scent of incense, frankincense, and myrrh lingers like memory itself, thick with sacred gravity. This is not a fairy tale. This is ancient Egypt, not as a land of golden legends, but of dust, devotion, and divine duty. You stand before the silhouette of the Great Pyramid, not in awe, but in reckoning with the toil, the ambition, and the burden of one who ruled not only people, but the heavens and earth as a living God. So before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in ancient times, even survival was a luxury. At first light, you ascend to the throne, the cool morning air still tinged with the moist earthiness of the Nile. The weight of the double crown, a symbol of uniting Upper and Lower Egypt, rests heavily upon your brow. It's not just a piece of jewelry adorned with precious stones. It's a perpetual reminder of your responsibility to keep the nation unified and harmonious. The crown whispers of centuries-old triumphs and failures, each carving its history onto your very skull. The expansive horizon of your reign stretches out before you, demanding unwavering attention. But in truth, the crown isn't as shiny as its golden exterior suggests. Its weight is metaphorical and literal, a constant jostling of balance and expectation. Every decision you make is scrutinized through the lens of a godlike image you are expected to fulfill. Ceremony upon ceremony unfolds as the sun rises higher in the sky, its heat bearing down on the busy world below. But your grandeur comes at a steep cost. The people see you as a living Horus, descended from the gods, yet your day-to-day life is anything but divine leisure. Instead, it is a rigorous schedule filled to the brim with rituals, audiences, and decrees that require your constant attention. From morning till dusk, the machinations of court life surround you, a bustling hive of activity that demands your oversight. The murmurs of your advisors are a constant drone. Some press close, bearing scrolls tied with rich ribbons, the ink still fresh with new affairs of state and overtures from foreign lands. Others whisper beneath their breath, spreading rumors and intrigue that might turn hazardous if left unchecked. And yet, within this web of power and complexity, within the burdens of statecraft and the mantle of divine kingship, lies a rich tapestry of civilization. Egyptian society sings and struggles, producing marvels of art, science, and architecture that the world will one day marvel at. But its heart beats with the effort and labor of pharaohs like yourself, those tasked with nurturing it to life, while cloaked in symbols of deity and eternity. As the evening draws near, casting a glow upon the gilded surfaces of your palace, you retire to your chambers, a moment of solitude amid ceaseless expectation. The linen on your bed is soft, the finest in the land, woven with care by hands that understand its significance. But the rest, like all else, is temporary. Tomorrow, the sun shall rise again, bringing with it the endless cycle of duty, wrapped in the alluring but demanding presence of the divine crown you wear. Historians still argue whether this image of the pharaoh as a deity on earth served to unite the people, or merely masked the inherent fragility of their reign. One might muse. But in the quiet echo of your own thoughts, you know that it is not just tales of triumph and grandeur that define your era, but the relentless pursuit of balance within the confines of your human nature and the expectations of divine perfection. And so, this night, beneath a sky that has witnessed countless pharaohs rise and fall, you lie down, feeling the weight of eternity, both as a burden and a privilege. The air is thick with anticipation as the dawn heralds another day, and you trudge along the well-worn path to your duties. The weight of the double crown has become a part of you, like a constant companion whispering reminders of unity and power. But unlike the average hat, this crown demands more than just a head to rest upon. It demands a heart that can bear the paradox of its symbolism. A crown forged to create harmony amid chaos, crafted to unite the fertile lands of the Nile Delta and the arid sands of the south. It's often said that heavy is the head that wears the crown, and in this case, quite literally. Your role is to embody the divine balance between Upper and Lower Egypta balance, maintained through strength, wisdom, and a touch of political savvy. It's no small feat to rule over a kingdom that stretches majestically along the Nile, a kingdom as diverse in its ecology as it is in its people. Imagine ruling a domain where the lands shift from lush green fields teeming with life to vast deserts whispering of ancient mysteries. It's like trying to mediate between two siblings who share the same roots but exhibit wildly contrasting personalities. The double crown represents more than just political consolidation. It speaks of the pharaoh's unique position as the intermediary between humanity and the gods, expected to maintain cosmic order. Every decision you make, from the grand national projects to the minute local decrees, must resonate with this divine ideal. Historians still argue whether the concept of Ma'at was a tool to stabilize your rule or a genuine spiritual commitment to harmony. Either way, you're the guardian of this esoteric yet binding law. As you move through the halls of your palace, the walls reflect the power struggles that came before, their stories etched in stone reliefs. Each panel narrates a tale of conquest or alliance and reminds you of the duality inherent in your crown's design. The Piecent, as it is called, combines the white headjet from Upper Egypt and the red deshret of Lower Egypt, a seamless blend that must be mirrored in your rule. Yet within your own family and court, echoes of discord remind you that peace is less a state and more a continuous effort, a juggling act performed on the high wire of tradition. Religious rituals start the day, the light filtering through high clerestory windows as incense coils like serpents in the air. Priests sing hymns in your honor and in honor of the gods, wrapping you in a divine cloak meant to imbue you with their strength. But beneath the surface of these public affirmations lies the very human reality of doubt and challenge. Are the murmured prayers enough to keep the divine and earthly forces in balance? Then there are the court assemblies, a who's who of royal confidants and challengers alike. Scrolls are unfurled, detailing the needs of your provinces, the petitions for resources, and tales of neighboring tribes who seek either friendship or fury. You must attend to them all, an attentive judge with the power to shape destinies with the stroke of a stylus. The stern twinkle in your vizier's eye reminds you of the need for diplomacy as you listen intently, weighing words as much as intentions. Among your retinue is a mix of relatives jockeying for favor and advisors driven by their interpretations of the divine stars. Your rule is like that of Ra guiding the sun across the sky. One declarishes flattery as plentiful as the sand you smile, knowing that this task is as isolating as it is exalted. As much as one might crave a simple existence, the life of a pharaoh is anything but. You are eternally wed to your national partner, to history itself. The pressures of governance are relentless, a river that flows unstoppered from the Nile bank to the endless deserts beyond. However, modern experts, in their dusty archaeological digs and scholarly debates, still ponder whether a pharaoh's connection to the divine was more restrictive than liberating, shackling rulers to an unyielding pedestal. And yet, as you gaze over the sprawling magnificence of your capital, you might find solace in the thought of the ancestors who wore this crown before you. They, too, were tasked with blending the tangible challenges of humanity with the intangible ambitions of their age. Finally, as the shadows lengthen and the court quiets, a moment of peace settles around you. Beneath the twin serpents of your crown, a symbol not just of power, but of the balance that you must maintain, you take a breath. Here, in this momentary gap between daylight responsibility and the mysterious reign of night, you find a rare equilibrium, a brief flash of contentment amid a life often defined by its burdens. But remember, in pharaoh life, such peace is as ephemeral as the lotus blooms on the Nile. The warm glow of morning gradually gives way to the sun's ascendant power, casting golden rays across the temple courtyards and palatial halls. As pharaoh, your role is to connect the earthly domain with the divinian intermediary expected to dance between the corporeal world and the ethereal realm, with a grace befitting your ancestral lineage. The expectation is both awe-inspiring and backbreaking, for to be viewed as a god on earth is a mantle heavier than gold. You wander through the cool interiors of the temple complex, the air heavy with the musky scent of sacred oils and the somber intonations of the priests broadcasting through the stone. This haven of spirituality serves as the junction between you and the multitude of Egyptian deities, each with its whims and demands. You pause before a towering statue of Amen-Ra, the sun god, absorbing the reverent atmosphere. He looks down at you with eyes of stone, inviting yet inscrutable. As both king and god, your life is stitched into the fabric of divine rituals, ceremonies designed not merely to placate, but to ask. The gods are providers of abundance, of the floodwaters that nourish the land and the sunlight that sustains crops. Your actions, and even your thoughts, are constant offerings, meant to align the celestial order with the earthly realm. Yet every misspeak, every misstep, is scrutinized by priests who hold sway over spiritual matters. After all, in this era of unseen forces, faith in your divine presence is what maintains the steady heartbeat of Egyptian society. This religious grandeur, however, presents a paradox. You are simultaneously deified and fully human, subject to all the weaknesses and fallibilities it entails. Were you to fall ill, historians argue, would that not tarnish the divine veneer? Some rather daring scribes covertly muse that the perception of Pharaoh as a living deity is merely an elaborately spun illusion, a grand narrative to solidify rule. You're faced with the constant insomnia-inducing reassurance of your divine disposition. People come seeking your blessing or trying to interpret the dreams they've had involving you. Each dream stands as a potential omen, a puzzle to be solved by experienced dream readers who peer into the spiritual currents flowing through Egyptian life. Such interpretations cause a ripple in the delicate balance of power, served with a side of gentle sarcasm regarding how you're expected to never err, despite the fact that even the gods themselves aren't immune to misfortune and folly. With the demands of divine representation come the complexities of managing expectations, both divine and mortal. You are the voice of the gods on earth, yet politics demands compromise, diplomacy, and, when necessary, a sun-drenched charisma. Imagine being a celestial icon expected to balance the breadbasket of your nation, pen decrees in morning light, and appease temperamental deities with afternoon offerings. Despite the expectations of your otherworldly wisdom, you still have moments where even you question the influence of divine intervention. This is not to suggest you doubt your role as the link between Egypt and the heavens. Rather, the toil of leadership carries inherent uncertainties. Beyond the temple gates, subjects whisper of your connection to Horus and the maker of the Ma'at, and this shared belief works wonders to steady your reign. Yet as the sun dips toward the horizon, you return to the softer trappings of your palace. There, within walls draped with colorful tapestries depicting God's favor, you find brief moments to meditate, perhaps a fleeting escape from the dizzying, ever-present expectations. You lighten your spirit with introspective jokes about how even deities must get tired of constant prayers. Historians still argue whether this perception of the pharaoh as a literal god-king served more as a unifying social force or an effective mechanism of control. Regardless of the interpretation, the continuous flow of divine duties is exhausting, like trying to hold up the sky within mortal arms. It's a life filled with a unique blend of piety and power, where the tenuous line between human and divine is walked as carefully as the courtiers maneuvering around the ever-present palace intrigue. Believe it or not, it's not assurances from the high priest, nor statues of the gods, but your own resilience that often pulls you through. So, as night settles over the peaceful Nile, and the stars once more cast their light down upon the earth, let the echoes of your ancient footsteps tread softly into the future, ready to embrace whatever divine whims tomorrow might bring. As the first light of dawn inches over the horizon, you find yourself once more at the intersection of duty and magnificence, a responsibility manifesting in stone and sweat. Being pharaoh means forever leaving your mark on history. And what grander way to immortalize your rule than with monumental architecture? Yet, while outsiders bear witness to the towering pyramids dominating the Egyptian skyline, few understand the sheer weight of overseeing such gargantuan projects. The grandeur you need to project isn't just an aspiration. It's a back-breaking challenge raveled in deception. The sound of chisels against limestone echoes through the crisp morning air, punctuated by the rhythmic chants of laborers who toil tirelessly under the searing sun. They are many, like the brushes of a painter, executing the grand vision that resides within your mind. Each stone set in place by your decree represents not only your legacy, but the collective legacy of all Egypt, and each decision regarding its direction weighs heavily on your shoulders. Creating these massive structures involves not only an almost unimaginable workforce, but also complex logistical feats that modern project managers would swoon over. Trading routes must be secured, and supplies transported along the meandering Nile, a vessel of life that sustains your kingdom and ambitions. The engineering demands alone boggle the mind, and continue to puzzle modern scholars, who debate whether mechanical ingenuity, divine aid, or sheer manpower drove these antiquarian engines of construction. The quarries buzz with activity as workers sculpt massive blocks of stone, readying them for their journey to the rising sanctuaries of the gods. Imagine coordinating such vast hierarchies of labor without so much as a spreadsheet, your tools are counting rods and patient scribes whose swift strokes on papyrus ensure that every sling of the rope and every step of the ramp is perfectly synchronized. Historians still argue over the exact methods used to erect these awe-inspiring monuments. Some theories suggest elaborate ramp systems, while others propose cranes or levers. It's like watching a circus of stone unfold, you'd humorously think, and in essence, it is a colossal performance of human perseverance and innovative spirit. While the rest of the world marvels at the finished spectacle, your mind is alive with the challenges of execution. Every decision brings both victory and risk, for a structure so magnificent must stand in sacred geometry, perfectly aligned to capture the glory of Ra as he rises and sets. A slip-up in such calculations could make not only a monument but your legacy go askew. Between the ongoing supervision of construction and the day-to-day obligations of statecraft, you find yourself caught in a labyrinth of expectations, yours and your subjects. Remember that sun-inspired sunscreen from before? It's back here again, smirking as it protects you and your architects from the glaring midday blaze. Amid the logistics of angles, sunbeams, and geometry, a dash of humor might ease the drudgery, pointing out that few could imagine that to build one of the timeless wonders of the world, you should first avoid turning red as a pomegranate. But aesthetics can't be overlooked. The balance between size and mysticism requires deliberate attention. Each pyramid isn't just a trophy of regal ambition, but a stairway to the divine afterlife. The gizmos of Nubian expertise, floral motifs, and mythical creatures etched into the walls sought to transform stone into celestial staircases, charting a course for your eternal soul in the afterlife, a testament to belief as much as labor. And amid the limestone dust and clamor of progress, moments of doubt shadow your intentions. Does eternity truly favor stone? The murmurs of courtiers reach your ears, reminding you that people question you even as they praise the monuments. The grandiosity of these pyramids, while a symbol of divine kingship, can also morph into tombstones of hubris, stark reminders of the transient nature of earthly power. Yet, as the sun sets behind the spine of this ever-developing wonder, the glow it casts across the Nile reflects the timeless pursuit of immortality. This moment is sacred, a reminder that each stone contributes not just to your individual legacy, but to the continuum of humanity, a legacy that is as much about shared endeavor as it is about individual glory. Thus, stepping back from the magnificent structure of limestone and geometry that rises out of the sands, you sigh contentedly, with the labyrinthine task of the day confirming the permanence of your reign in each chiseled face. But as with all things, the grandeur is fleeting. Night falls, subtle yet all-encompassing, leaving the monument cloaked for another day. As you prepare for the night's rest, you're reminded once more of history's biggest reality check. Your grand pyramid, while capturing the stars, is also a testament to the sonorous heartbeat of humanity, pulsing against the infinity of time. Even as the grand shadows of the pyramids stretch into the evening, the labyrinthine halls of the palace are alive with a different kind of intrigue. The whispered echoes of history may christen you Pharaoh, but amidst gold-edged corridors lies the intricate dance of power, struggles the family feuds, and court intrigues that pulse through your reign like a hidden current beneath a calm sea. You take each step with caution, knowing that betrayal may spring from the same lips that offer flattery. Your palace, vast and imposing, hums with the life of its own corridors, echoing with the hasty shuffle of sandals and the soft murmurs of gossip, traded like commodities. Behind heavy doors, adorned with cobalt and inlaid with lapis lazuli, the most deliciously dangerous plotting happens over simple cups of honeyed wine. Being a pharaoh requires a mastery of diplomacy, not just with foreign emissaries, but within the walls of your own Homea place, where alliances are as fragile as the delicate papyrus scrolls on which they're chronicled. Family, they say, is your greatest support, but as Pharaoh, it's also your most significant hazard. Brothers eye your throne with envy, sisters whispering like cobras, as they spin webs of influence from their gilded chambers. Even mother's queens in their own right can weave plots like seasoned lotus weavers, their affections contingent upon securing advantageous marriages or clinging to power from the shadows. History has its list of ambitious queens who influenced pharaohs from behind heady veils of incense. One might laugh at the notion of keeping your enemies closer than friends. Yet in these corridors, it's not just a catchphrase, but a survival strategy. Even trusted advisors have ambitions that shadow their loyalty, their smooth words laced with undertones sharper than a war axe. There's a dark humor in maintaining a circle of confidants where friend and rival wear interchangeable masks. During sumptuous banquets bathed in candlelight, laughter floats on fragrant smoke, while hieroglyphics of alliances are etched with gestures and glances. The palatial atmosphere, rich with aromas of roasted fowl and perfumed oils, becomes a stage upon which the intricate performance of fealty and betrayal unfolds. Here, the court must be treated as a tapestry, with every thread a promise to fulfill, twist, or break. Each laugh might hide a threat. Each toast might shout of promises unkept. Historians still argue whether these familial machinations strengthened or weakened the pharaoh's rule. Philosophers and thinkers of your court might say drama is merely the tax of maintaining divine kingship, a necessary evil on your godly shoulders, alongside the weighty crown. Some scribe in a dusty corner wonders if divine favor weighs as much as silver-tongued relations. And then come the sudden whispers of prophecy, those mystic utterances murmured by the oracles interpreting celestial positions, each decoded phrase as volatile as the desert winds. A star misaligned, a comet crossing the night sky fingers point in suspicion, grasping at premonitions that could shift the fragile balance of power, or add fuel to a nascent coup. One might chuckle at the irony of ruling an entire kingdom, yet often being ensnared by those entrusted with a shared bloodline. Power does funny things when mixed with the elixir of familial ties, love, and ambitions swirl in potent harmony. You might ponder, which is heavier, the crown or the familial expectations that come with it. Yet, as you navigate this intricate court dance, you're not without certain freedoms. Trust, delicate as the buds of the blue lotus, does exist here and there the commander of your guard, a loyal advisor who remembers simpler days, perhaps even a scribe who tells your tale with truthful strokes. They remind you that amid the turbulent waters of palace politics, islands of genuine affection and loyalty do surface. They are the allies helping navigate the stormy seas of relationships that threaten to overwhelm, much like the Nile's annual floods. As dusk wraps your kingdom in its warm embrace, you're reminded that this intricate weave of family and court holds its own strange harmony and necessary chaos that marks the cadence of your reign. In the richness of this tapestry, you remain grounded, your gaze surveying both distant lands and the next alabaster column of your palace as they merge into the shadows of the past and the present. So, as the incense burns low and the murmurs linger, you lay back on pillows woven with gold threads and contemplate the grandeur and fragility of power within your realm. A small jest about being Pharaoh, it's like trying to dance with every crocodile in the Nile. Good luck if you can manage a step without getting dangerously close to their jaws. Still, amid these eternal challenges, you find moments of levity, reflective of your own journey through the stars. The morning sun creeps over the horizon, bringing with it another day woven thick with duties that demand the practiced hand of a pharaoh. As the first sip of date-sweetened drink touches your lips, the reality of your responsibilities unfurls before you. You've mastered the art of managing not just a kingdom, but an endless scroll, detailing the mundane, the crucial, and the bizarre, none of which can be ignored. The title of Pharaoh is as unyielding as the stone statues erected in your honor, and the scope of day-to-day duties is as vast as the monarchy itself. Your day begins with councils in the Echo Chambera Hall, named not just for its acoustic feats, but for the reverberating voices of viziers, scribe masters, and military commanders who, like busy bees, report the affairs of state. Each one carries scrolls rolled tight, like their perpetually furrowed brows, as they seek your rulings on matters ranging from harvest allocations to foreign ambassadors, bringing news of interests as far-flung as the Mesopotamian plains. Imagine juggling all this while still pondering if last night's prophetic dream hinted at a royal misstep, or merely a reminder to avoid eating too many figs before bed. This realm of constant decisions and administrative oversight shows no mercy. The requests that flood your court often seem endless, each one intricately tied in hieroglyphic loops, laced with the needs of your ever-expanding empire, ensuring that no region's wine goes unheard and no market basket remains empty. Bewildering lists off which cattle are ready for sacrifice, whose soil needs the grain, and who needs grain more than frictionless life in Sander, presented with pleading eyes, urging quick yet profound decisions. As you listen patiently to the litany of administrative updates and petitions, you can almost hear the heartbeat of your nation. They aren't just issues. They form an interconnected web that demands your attention, ensuring that every canal flows, every grain silo stands full, and every Tiori insists that glory and prosperity tiptoe in your footsteps. You also know that a single missed detail might unravel into chaos faster than an Egyptologist can mispronounce cartouche. Over lunch, you find reprieve a moment where bounce and banter replace the rigidity of court decorum. The scent of roasted quail arrives, laden with fragrant herbs, and dusted with vitalized herbs from the Nile's fertile bank. Although these gatherings are informal, they're punctuated by light discussions with key advisors. It's a gentle reminder, sprinkle of ginger on life's feast, that beneath the layers of gold-threaded protocols and procession dwells the belly of it all. Relationship dynamics that nourish a kingdom more deeply than honey from bees. Indeed, keeping your ear to the ground, not literally of course too much sand, is a skill worth its weight in flax. Remember the joke about the vizier who couldn't see the future but certainly felt it? In managing your bustling state's endeavors, you'll often rely on these connections. Breaks amidst the engine of bureaucratic machinery that, like the gears of a grand felucca, must be perfectly aligned. Historians still argue whether the meticulous bureaucracy of ancient Egypt stands as a testament to its enduring legacy, or a feat overwhelmed by its own meticulousness. Your reign moves forward rowing on this sea of papyrinaut, just etched by your commands, but by the whispers and suggestions of myriad scribes and officials, each documenting the narrative of continuity and change. And yet, with every edict signed, every judgment passed, and every headline crafted by your scribes, comes the delicate art of maintaining balance. Perennially negotiating among regiments, advisories, and the spectrum of state-run temples, all seek your favor, desiring your leadership to ensure their grain and gold freely flow. As the sun ventures toward its gentle decline, you stand back within these activities, master conductor working through his symphony, where each movement demands poise and unerring competence to maintain harmony. Time creases like papyrus, each line woven into the human tapestry of mundane yet magically involved life, each decree and ordinance echoing anew through polished halls. As evening takes hold, one thinks that, much like those intricate models of the Nile, made with meticulous beads and golden thread, maintaining an empire's equilibrium is an art unto itself, in which each thread in this elaborate loom weaves a slightly bigger question, whether ruling is its own pyramid, a structure and symbol both aspirational and enduring. You smile at this metaphor, gaining the appreciation that here, even landscapes beyond the monumental pyramids are built with careful, calculated hands, and perhaps a flair of gentle irony laced with sandalwood-scented dream. The sun ascends to its midday throne, drenching the land in light. Still, even under this blazing canopy, your duties require you to step into the realm of shadows, the ritualistic and sacred obligations that solidify your earthly sovereignty and divine lineage. To be Pharaoh is to be intimately bound to the myriad rituals that rhythmically punctuate each day and season, a delicate dance designed to appease the gods and maintain the fragile fabric of your reality. Welcome to a life where repetition and sacred rites serve not only as spiritual anchors, but as constant companions, whispering to you of eternity. The hum of the temple sounds like a well-orchestrated melody, echoing through sandstone corridors where the scent of blooming lotus blends with the mustiness of ancient texts. You traverse through these hallowed spaces, garbed in linen robes freshly washed in the pristine waters of the Nile, their flow akin to the river itself symbolic and soothing in its cool embrace. The echoes of priests' prayers rise in crescendo, their words intertwined with purpose and rhythm, calling forth the attention of the celestial beings believed to guide your reign. Today, like most days, you observe the ritual of the sunrise ceremony. As high priests chant invocations to Ra, the sun god, golden rays pierce through the temple columns, illuminating your path. These rites are more than mere formalities. They are acts of renewal and reassurance, securing divine balance as sure as the first crack of dawn. The Egyptians have a saying, "Without order, there is chaos." And in this axial symmetry of belief and practice, each repetition ensures the prosperity of your lands. The rituals aren't just for appeasing the heavens. They serve as a resounding reminder to your subjects of your divine mandate. Your presence at these events reassures them that the gods are pleased, that you are the bridge maintaining cosmic order, a task that requires unwavering dedication and precision. To skip or err in such rituals could bring disaster, offending both divine and earthly realms. Historians still argue whether the intensity of such religious practices was rooted in genuine faith or an elaborate display of authority and order. Yet these ceremonies, with their bound detail and predictability, offer solace in a world where unpredictability looms beyond the horizons. The repetitive nature of these rites holds a certain rhythm, a cadence providing certainty amidst uncertainty, and a shared experience, threading the human tapestry through divine interaction. In between rituals, the kingdom calls for you, unraveling another layer of your multifaceted responsibilities. Now, it's time to perform another set of rites, the ceremonial acceptance of offerings from foreign dignitaries. As representatives from distant lands present gifts ranging from precious stones to exotic animals, each tinged with intent and diplomacy, you accept them with grace warranted by a living God. Your acceptance is not just a social transaction, but a divine one, resonating in the intricate architecture of international relations. It invokes a silent dialogue where the languages may vary, but the understanding of power and respect translates universally. Comedy finds a way to slip into even the most sacred spaces. Remember, every stone-faced deity once began its journey as a lump of pristine rock. The joke about priests debating whether the gods prefer one type of incense over another still circulates, a light-hearted attempt to find humor amidst divinely woven complexities. As the midday sun peaks, casting long shadows across temple walls, you retreat to the inner sanctum for one of the most sacred responsibilities. The ritual of rest, a quiet time not just for rejuvenation but reflection. The cool stone chamber, adorned with vivid murals of mythical battles and deities in rhythm with time itself, becomes a canvas for your contemplation. Amidst the fragrant drift from lotus candles, where sandalwood swirls with myrrh, you ponder larger acts of balance, the choreography between human choice and divine mandate. Are the daily rites you perform as Pharaoh unveiling paths of intention, or merely binding the strands of fate closer together? Is each ewer of sacred oil a drop sealing destiny, or bait for the divine favor enveloping your reign? Questions circulate like the desert winds, revealing more than answers with every gust. As twilight descends ever so softly, casting subtle hues upon your land, you rise, ready to partake in the evening rites that will close the curtain on another day. Like the beginning, the ending is marked by ceremony. The cycle is habitual, yet every cycle deepens the roots of legacy, ensuring that the wheel continues to turn smoothly until time itself wearies of such beauty. Thus, each day is woven into the narrative of order, a dance you engage in with the grace that belies its underlying complexity, whispering of truths, compounded not just in stone, but in every breath, taken beneath the canopy of the gods, binding you to the continuum of history. As the first whispers of dawn dance across your chambers, a new day greets you with its familiar chorus of bird calls, mingling with the languorous rustle of palm fronds swaying in the gentle Nile breeze. But along with these gentle greetings come the reminders of flesh and blood realities that even a pharaoh cannot escape: the pressing matters of health and mortality. Life as a divine ruler is no shield against the ailments and afflictions of the human condition. Certainly, in a land famed for its exceptional contribution to early medicine, you wield access to the most advanced care of the age. Beneath the bright banners of your court, dedicated healers and physicians study papyrus scrolls, their pages filled with detailed images of herbal remedies and treatments that speak not just to the ingenuity of Egyptian healing, but to its occasional peculiarities. Your personal physician, a practitioner skilled in balancing the body's hemosis, never far out of reach, ready with an array of concoctions blended from the fragrant bounty of local herbs and plants. However, the realities of ancient ailments often overshadow even the most learned attempts to cure or ease. Common conditions range from the mundane itches, From the seemingly endless processions and rituals to more persistent concerns, such as dental issues. That seemingly eternal smile upon your visage, meticulously carved into stone and cherished as divine, hides the teeth worn down by grain-based diets, ground together with small, abrasive flecks of grit. Imagine biting into bread that doubles as sandpaper. Diseases are also an ever-present spectre, stealthily coursing through dense urban spaces where royal and commoner alike share close quarters with animals brought in for both sustenance and sacrifice. Historians still argue whether some of these afflictions led to long reigns veering off course, steering rulers toward untimely ends that whispered through the annals of history. Among the medical apparatuses employed, you'll find strange and fascinating remedies. For instance, to battle eye infections, physicians often advocated the application of honey, a practice with surprising merit given honey's natural antibacterial qualities. Then, there's the application of crocodile-dung, an ancient sunscreen used to ward off the sun's fierce rays. Practical? Perhaps. A joke shared amongst the younger members of your court about the dubious threat of smelling like a swamp? Almost certainly. Yet, as you ponder the realities of bodily ailments, you find solace in the knowledge that even these challenges knit you closer to your people. Amidst the grand pillars of your palace, stories of past pharaohs echo tales of courage in adversity or resilience in illness, woven into the broader tapestry of your shared history. Such narratives remind you that every holder of the double crown was bound to the nation's lifeblood, sharing the same vulnerabilities. You tend to matters of health with the same meticulous care you employ in statecraft. Daily rituals of exercise are participating in the rhythmic stretching and strengthening exercises recommended by your attendants. Keep your body attuned. The royal gymnasium, tucked within the palace grounds amidst lush gardens, resonates with activity, a testament to maintaining divine fitness. As the sun climbs steadily toward noon, casting its harsh scrutiny upon the world, you take refuge within the cool depths of your opulent courtier retreat, not just from the heat, but from the pervasive whispers of time that mark points of vulnerability. There, within the painted murals depicting victories past and divine favor, you sit with scrolls recording health regimens passed down through generations. Here is where wisdom lies, not in denying the physical truths of existence, but in embracing them, engaging fully with your embodiment of terrestrial and celestial roles. In moments of reflection under the shadow of eternity's pyramid, you can't help but muse upon the irony that, while blessed with power unrivaled, you too rely on such earthy remedies. Whether scribed on papyrus or exchanged through age-old oral traditions, these medical practices form an indispensable part of your reign, much like the shimmering Nile that courses with life beside you. The day finally reaches its waning glow, the treatments and prescriptions of your physicians having done their part to cushion you against the relentless wheel of time. You prepare to engage in the nighttime ceremonies, bearers carrying forth fragrant oils and soothing unguents, meant to ease you into slumber. The afflictions, sorrows, and temporary trials of your mortal covering fade, if only briefly, while the night sky unrivaled in its splendor bows to the solemn majesty of your divine and earthly guardianship. So, as darkness cloaks the land and the warmth of candlelight casts the ancient stories upon the walls, you take heart. Health and frailty, while humbling in their commonality, carry with them renewed motivation and purpose, a convergence of humanity and divinity, striving together within the great pyramid of existence. As the sun nudges higher into the sky, sprinkling its golden light across the riverbanks, you prepare to face the day armed with a veritable arsenal of ancient Egyptian cosmetics and rituals practices designed not only to protect, but to elevate your status and mystique. In the realm of personal care, Egyptians, especially those of your elite rank, have concocted rituals that are as bizarre as they are fascinating, blending functionality with beliefs deeply rooted in cultural and spiritual contexts. Personal hygiene is a task undertaken with both reverence and necessity, and the throne room prepares you with the deft hands of attendants who see to it that you present not merely as a ruler, but as the embodiment of divine order. Your daily toilet begins with a refreshing rinse using water from the Nile's famed life-giving qualities, aligning you with the cycle of renewal. Though one might humorously think twice about immersing in a river both revered and peopled with creatures best left undisturbed. Today, as you sit amidst alabaster basins and sculpted perfume jars, you ponder the interesting details of cosmetic practices, tools used for aesthetic endeavors brought to life through regional ingredients. Here, Brushes and applicators crafted from bronze and precious metals stand ready. Lush kohl lines your eyes, applied skillfully to mirror the depiction of Horus, the sun god, while simultaneously serving as protection against sun glare and common eye infections, a dual-purpose disguise that Methuselah himself would admire. In a frank turn of irony, the infamous concoction of crocodile-dung once more makes its return to your daily rituals, blended expertly with herbs and oils to form an early version of sunscreen. Your attendants are adept at smoothing the pungent mixture across your skin with expertise, keeping in mind that, while some jokes are timeless, scent can ruin even the god's day. Your skin glistens beneath oils pressed from myrrh and frankincense, luxuriant scents heralding divine presence, which underscore the separation between commoners and royalty. Serving as both protection and testament to your status, these unctuous applications allow you to traverse the public eye with resilience. Among the quirks beneath the gilded surface lies the fascination with wigs, worn by both men and women as a symbol of purity and affluence. Intricate designs created with strands of human hair, supplemented generously with wool or plant fibers. You chuckle at the practicality of a hairpiece that not only bears testimony to evolving fashions, but serves as an exclamation mark against Egypt's unrelenting sun. Adorning your fingers are rings with brightly colored stone saw, so they seem. Laughter bears the truth. Those chunks of colored glass might shine like precious stones, but are practical bits of illusion, demonstrating the Pharaoh's balance of reality and spectacle. Not to mention, you carry on your person amulets imbued with protective powers, ensuring that divine favor joins you in the mundane challenges of the day. Historians still argue whether these cosmetic routines were purely ceremonial, expressions of the vanity of God's earthly incarnations, or dictated by necessity, an age-old debate existing in the corridors of time. From the adorning of wigs to intricate jewelry and perfumes, Pharaoh's visage mirrors not just divinely inspired beauty, but measures taken to bridge the gap between deity and humanity, like the tail of an elaborate royal garment trailing toward its mythical horizon. When it comes to scent, the allure of incense grounds you in the hub of spirituality. Offering scents invoke a connection between heaven and earth, a fragrant endorsement crafted into every smoke-filled hour. Perfumes crafted from lilies, myrrh, and the rare attar of roses mingle to create an aura befitting the divine, one that eschews the musky realities of earthy hygiene in favor of celestial majesty. As you prepare to meet dignitaries, or merely wander among your subjects, there's a moment where you recognize these rituals echo beyond mere routine. They are woven deeply into the cultural and social fabric of Egypt. Each fragrance speaks of centuries-old traditions. Each ripple of linen robes calls whispers of ancient secrets. In their peculiarities and practicalities, these rituals carve space for levity, a chance to find humor beneath the veneer of divine splendor. Remember the jest floating around the court that you may possess the power of Ra. But even Ra would have preferred lotus-infused linen over stagnant swamp water. Thus, armed for the relentless sun, you step into the day, a living testament to the blend of divine and earthly spheres. Cloaked in traditions, stitched with time, leading a kingdom with the deft hand of one who thrives amidst the whirl of ancient elegance and clever satire. As the initial hours unfold, you find that amid life's spectacle, even gods appreciate the occasional jest forecast in the mirror. The dawn's rosy blush gradually gives way to a broader expanse of vibrant daylight, rendering the landscape alive with hues of green and gold. Yet beneath the surface of Egypt's majestic beauty lies a myriad of environmental challenges that weave through every thread of existence, impacting even the most powerful of pharaohs. The land you govern is bountiful yet harsh, filled with cycles of abundance intricately tied to the unpredictable symphony orchestrated by nature herself. The annual flooding of the Nile stands as both boon and bane, an event everyone anticipates with bated breath, and offerings presented in hope of divine tolerance. With inundation comes renewal, a land nourished by fine silt that emerges from muddy waters, nurturing fields that yield life-sustaining crops. Yet, these waters are capricious. They do not simply adhere to the desires of those who rule lands once governed by relentless deserts. There's an old joke amongst the farmers. Even the crocs know better than to count their fish before the flood. As Pharaoh, it is a dance you must perform, achieving harmony with this natural rhythm, knowing your subjects look to you to placate the gods and ensure a balanced cycle of flood and harvest. The inundation dictates agricultural schedules, their ebbs and flows determining the beat of daily life. Decisions made regarding irrigation infrastructure or management of dikes are not just mundane governmental tasks, they form the backbone of your populace's survival. Historians still argue whether this intricate relationship with the environment dictated the rigidity of bureaucratic structures, whether the ebb of the Nile's waters fashioned a civil service uniquely adaptive to nature's volatile caprice or not. In any case, these natural cycles forged the nation's ethos, leaving imprints as durable as the perennial patterns within the delta's clay. The western sands, meanwhile, bring their own brand of challenger, relentless advance, halted only by the fertile embrace of the riverbanks. Winds weave intricate scrollwork into towering dunes, a whispering reminder that beyond this lush line lies an expanse eager to reclaim its historic dominance. My, how the gleaming sun might mockingly promise prosperity and deception in one single breath. Wouldn't you agree? They facetiously imply that the sands here shift as horribly as court alliances. Day-to-day management of environmental resources requires an astute understanding of this duality. From designing granaries to hold excess yields from bumper crops, preparing for lean seasons, to organizing expeditions into neighboring territories for resources, each is a step in ensuring the steady flow of prosperity. Withdrawing from this equation, even briefly, could upset the balance, stealing prosperity and inviting discord as swiftly as a firebrand. Amidst this vital tussle with uncertainty, innovative solutions emerge. First, there's the vision of SETI, a network of canals envisioned and implemented to siphon overflow while nurturing distant land. Herein lies Egypt's innovation, manipulating natural resources to serve human ambition while keeping nature's tendency to revert to chaos at bay. Astute governance, coupled with practical ingenuity, bolsters your divine reputation, sculpting your earthly role into something of both origin and permanence. Yet even through this genius, you're not immune to the jokes passed around by lesser nobles, who claim that the Nile's timing resents those wielding power. Sarcasm flows like the channels controlled through Egypt's hydraulic planer testament, as much to bureaucratic prowess as wit's timeless appeal. But as the daylight begins to relinquish its fierce grip on the land, shadows casting soft arcs over the fertile grounds, you find solace in the knowledge that your reign balances upon the results of these endeavors. It's not merely an arbitrary guesswork, but an orchestration meant to ensure the prosperity hinted at by the river's glistening crescent, against the backdrop of golden fields nestled amidst sandhills. So, when twilight descends, ushering in the brief lull between labor and rest, it's not just relief you savor. It's the symphony of nature's cycles singing a song well-versed as any priest's hymn. For in this melancholy interlude between dusk and nighttime celestial ascendance, you realize every drop of the Nile, every gust that shapes the billowing dunes, every whispered breeze pulling along divine whispers, these unite with your efforts to bind your people to the land they call home. In this fleeting fusion of human and nature's triumph, you witness visions forming like arcs across the heavens, a grand tribute to the celestial dance blending crops and hymns into a narrative lifting you, us, into tomorrow's embrace. Thus, each shimmering droplet settled by moonlight spells the continuing saga, binding the Pharaoh's legacy to each grain of sand and flowing water, telling a story that survives as surely as any rune chiseled in the dense stone of a temple's heart. As the heat of the sun swells across the kingdom, casting sharp relief on the towering stone monuments, it also brings with it more immediate concerns, those of defense and survival. For while you are a ruler heralded as divine, there rests on your shoulders an undeniable earthly duty, protecting the realm from both seen and unforeseen threats. Your role as sovereign is inexorably twined with the mantle of military leadership, a reality that presents its own set of challenges and expectations. The echoes of training and readiness reverberate through the barracks, as soldiers hone their skills in preparation for whatever may test Egypt's might. The clatter of weapons and the rhythmic shout of drill commands form a symphony of preparedness. You, dear Pharaoh, are more than a distant figure on a throne. You are seen as the beating heart of this protective forcia symbol and a strategist. The military campaigns that punctuate your reign are not mere details in annals, but defining moments of both personal and national significance. With borders that stretch across formidable deserts, protecting trade routes and ensuring the safety of towns and wealth-rich temples becomes paramount. You constantly balance diplomacy with strength, crafting treaties that echo through the marble chambers while girding your forces against breaches that might befall you from the fringes of this stabilized desert kingdom. As the leader of the army, it's your responsibility to know the strengths and quirks of your forces. Consider the chariots, expertly crafted with a deft touch that balances the power needed to protect against invasions, while allowing the grace to glide across scalding sands like water on oils. Historians still argue whether the chariot represented a revolution in military technology or merely the extravagant display of regality, a reminder that interpretations of power remain as vast as the limestone stretches of your kingdom. The duties of military leadership extend beyond battlefields and fortifications, delving into the intricate affairs of logistics. Egypt's strength lies in its ability to project power through efficient organization, ensuring imposts of armor and provisions flow as smoothly as the Nile. Here you might find irony, that the very waters that feed your land also serve as the lifeline for war, an element as pivotal to victory as strategy itself. Amid these responsibilities, humor lightens the day. There's always room for jest, especially when adjusting the well-crafted ornate helmet that seems more suited for ceremonies than open battle. Let the enemy tremble at the sight of my shiny, not-so-fearsome helmet, you might murmur amid light laughter with your generals, who share both the privilege and burden of commander, touch of levity amidst daunting decisions. The military also offers paths for cultural exchange. Mercenaries and scouts bring stories from foreign lands, tales that inform and enrich your understanding of the broader world. Their accounts of distant treasures and strange customs form a mosaic of knowledge that punctuates strategy sessions with color and curiosity. Through these windows, you share glimpses of a world both vast and wonderfully varied, igniting not just the fires of defensive innovation, but exploration as well. Yet the burden of leadership is apparent as night creeps into the day, surrendering the horizon to stars glinting in haunting symphony. Each decision, born from necessity, dances between personal responsibility and the current of history it brushes lightly upon one's shoulders, much like the cool night air upon bronze cuirasses left in relief. As you prepare to rest, looking beyond the sand-kissed walls of your citadel to the vast stretch of stones and shadows, you reflect not on the battles won or campaigns catalogued, but on the ongoing commitment required to keep a kingdom safe. From the ageless hymns heralding conquest to whispered plans shared beneath the banner of moonlight, leading those bound by duty threads each victory and alliance into a resilient but fragile tapestry made sturdy by unity, fragile through the nature of time pulling at its looped edges. Gazing upward, into the mirror of stars reflecting the Nile's glimmers, you understand your role is a guardian to wield the power of Ra against the darkness that forever prowls the borderlands. It is this role that ties you to both the tales told in the light of day and those whispered under the night's embrace, the narratives of protection, perseverance, and transition woven into every pharaoh's eternal journey, guiding each step like footprints traced across shifting sands. So you drift into sleep, the hopes of a kingdom resting upon your armored shoulders, ready to meet the dawn's inexorable demands with the poise expected of your legendary helm, shining within the tumultuous dance of echoes and dream. As the warmth of the Egyptian morning unfolds once more, your thoughts inevitably wander to the life beyond this realm, to the mysteries of immortality that shape your reign as much as any earthly concern. It is here, under the expansive bluescape of sky and sun, that the convergence of life and afterlife is woven into the very fabric of your existence as pharaoh, echoing through stone monuments and within the whispered hymns of priests. The material world, with its glorious pyramids and fertile lands, is but a fleeting stage in the grand design conceived by the ancients. For the heart of a pharaoh's existence beats with the rhythm of eternity, each day a footstep along the delicate path to an everlasting life among the stars. The quest for immortality is not merely a philosophical musing, but a consuming tapestry unfurling through every decision, every edifice, pursuing a legacy anchored in the divine. In your pursuit of eternal life, the construction of a tomb is paramount an endeavor that transcends architecture to become a vessel transporting the soul safely into the afterlife. The creative undertaking is enormous, with artisans and laborers tirelessly etching your narrative into the walls of your final resting place. Picture the precise carvings of grand victories and divine blessings adorning those walls, painstakingly crafted to ensure the gods do not forget your deeds, not even in the shadowed corridors of the Duat. Your heart is weighed not only against the pen-sized feather of Maat, goddess of truth, but by the aspirations intertwined throughout your reign. Historians still argue whether this preoccupation with the afterlife, the elaborate tombs, the intricate burial rites was a driving force of individual legacy or a necessity for societal continuity. Whichever the truth, this dedication mirrors your very survival of spirit through echoes shaped on limestone. The Book of the Dead, a guide to navigating this intricate celestial journey, is an irreplaceable companion in your subterranean preparation. Each of its spells and incantations provides a beacon, illuminating the path through the underworld and safeguarding against perils that may try to claim your spirit. Your priests and scribes, thus, engage in the meticulous transcription of these words onto papyrus, crafting your personal guidebook, an incantation-inscribed map, steering you towards the eternal rest and rejuvenation cradled by Osiris's embrace. Amid the solemnity of these preparations, the lighter side persists a member of the court, jesting that, with so much attention to detail, even Anubis might need a checklist to keep things straight when guiding you. Humor finds its place in every corner, even here, at the threshold of the mystic. A procession of offerings, a replica of what awaits you in domains silences, as much a rite for the living as for the deceased. The ceremonial boats, gilded and adorned with vivid imagery, lie ready to transport your essence across the celestial Nile. Countless figurines, or shaptis, crafted with care to serve you in the afterlife, stand ready like stalwart companions prepared to aid your spirit's labor within the fields of Aru. As the sun reaches its zenith, you participate in ceremonies that honor this eternal vision. Rituals are performed both to prepare for your transition into the afterlife and to ensure continued divine favor. Priests chant incantations echoing through sacred halls, while kites glide from temple top to temple top, awaiting cue to carry sacrificial offerings skyward on invisible threads of voice and spirit. Amid the palpable reverence for the eternal, there's an unspoken understanding shared among your people, a continuing legacy, whose whispers pulse like a hidden drumbeat throughout history. Even as the offerings are placed among the ornaments of ivory and gold, tongues explore humankind's scope, questioning not the why of it all, but repeating, "How marvelous it is to have such certainty that not even death reigns for long." As evening approaches and the horizon paints brushed strokes of amber and indigo, you return to contemplate within the sanctuary of the temple precinct. Here, beneath decorative ceilings portraying constellations that stare down from an eternal sky, you realize it's a journey you undertake, not alone. For the aspirations of your people lace together in this shared destiny, creating a continuous pattern stretching out into an ocean of time. Together and always, you sail towards eternity, with its guiding starlight caressing each ripple left upon history's endless shore. And so, as night encloses the land, your preparations for the afterlife continue, ensuring your deeds resound ephemerally beneath starlit heavens. With every beat of time's heart, you bind yourself to everlasting moments, painting the eternal tapestry that lingereth, a pattern now worn but never weary from the footsteps of rulers that follow, like yours, enshrined across eternity. As the gentle twilight settles over the kingdom, softening the landscape with its shades of indigo and violet, your thoughts turn towards the unique struggles faced by the women pharaohs who also walked this hallowed path. In the annals of Egyptian history, female pharaohs, although rare, carry stories rich with determination, cunning, and a persistent strength that secured their place in this world of divine kingship. These extraordinary women carved out legacies that continue to intrigue and inspire, endlessly weaving their narratives into the greater tapestry of Egyptian history. Imagine, if you will, the immense challenges these women faced, starting with ascending the throne in a world predominantly orchestrated by men. It's one thing to wear the crown, it's another altogether to command the same reverence traditionally afforded to male rulers. Yet these women pharaohs, like Hatshepsut and Cleopatra, seamlessly navigated the intricacies of power, diplomacy, and legacy with undeniable prowess. Hatshepsut, for instance, ascended to the heights of power not through convention, but through a series of strategic maneuvers, claiming her place as pharaoh by assuming the regency for the young Thutmose III, before ultimately declaring herself ruler. She adopted the full regalia of a pharaoh, even donning the false beard, a symbol of kingship, thus altering perceptions with every ceremonial stride. Such actions weren't mere ripples in the Nile, but but waves that redefined the shoreline. Her reign was marked not by war, but by prosperity and monumental building projects. The Grand Mortuary Temple at Deir el-Bahri stands as a testament to her remarkable vision and leadership, of fact that still captures the admiration of historians who marvel at how she elevated the kingdom into a flourishing era. Historians still argue whether her depicted relationship with the divine directly influenced her acceptance as a ruler. However, her legacy endures, much like the temples she left behind, carved into rock faces where the whispers of time echo forevermore. In contrast to Hatshepsut's focus on architectural grandeur, Cleopatra came from a lineage of foreign rulers during the waning years of ancient Egypt, directing her energies towards safeguarding the independence of her kingdom through alliances and diplomacy. Imagine the humor in a ruler so often depicted throughout history as a seductress who, in truth, was also a shrewd strategist, whose linguistic skills and intellect charmed more than romance alone. Cleopatra's remarkable ability to leverage her position through political alliances, most notably with Julius Caesar, and later Mark Antony, underscored Egypt's strategic importance in the Mediterranean world. Here she wielded charm and intelligence like a sword, maneuvering through the tempestuous waters of Roman politics. Despite the intense pressure of foreign relations and the specter of Rome looming large, Cleopatra sought a fusion of Egyptian and Hellenistic traditions, fortifying Egypt's ancient identity, even as she flirted with modernity's burgeoning footprint. Though her life ended under tragic circumstances, her legacy remains one of cultural and political significance. As you wander through the thoughts of her reign, you evoke the image of her arriving atop a gilded barge upon the Nile Queen, shrouded in charisma and controversy, a constellation of power reflected in each ripple of the waters below. It's this juxtaposition within the realm of female pharaohs that enriches your understanding of their struggles and triumphs. Women who dared to seize leadership were few, casting larger-than-life shadows across Historia, reminder that leadership transcends the physical trappings of power. Perhaps there is an inkling of playful irony here, a jest whispered, through time that echoes even now. Goddess, not just in name, but in deed, close. The challenges they faced were not just threats from outside forces, but from within. Entrenched prejudices and patriarchal systems required many women pharaohs to engage in portrayals that transcended their gender. They adeptly manipulated royal iconography, aligning themselves with divine power and rites, leading a dual existence in both their royal and divine incarnations. As the stars begin their nightly dance across the Egyptian sky, you pause to reflect on their legacy's lessons that resonate beyond their tombs and ornate frescoes. It is a testament to the spirit that these pharaohs embodied, forging paths that ventured into the realm of both dreams and history, ensuring their stories would ripple through time. Their reigns are a reminder that within the temple of leadership lies a sanctuary, where the divine spirit shines brightly. Irrespective of gender, a flame that illuminates the page of history, where their tales are forever inscribed. As night deepens, wrapping itself around the ancient stones, you find solace in the enduring strength of those who ruled with grace, wisdom, and an indomitable will, through both shadow and sun. As the night fades, and the first light of dawn begins to stretch across the Egyptian sky, you find yourself reflecting on the essential, yet often overlooked, engine behind the grand facade of the pharaoh's reign, the intricate web of scribes, and the enduring legacy of bureaucracy. Within this empire of stone and spirit, it is the scribes who become the vital record keepers, ensuring the unbroken continuity of the realm. Their tools, a faithful reed pen and a fresh roll of papyrus, lay the groundwork for governance, communication, and legacy. In your role as the pharaoh, you rely daily on this bustling cadre of scribes, who serve as both the memory and the pulse of your administration. They occupy a position as indispensable as any royal advisor, although their work might appear mundane on the surface. Yet, without these meticulous chroniclers guarding the flow of information like the Nile, running through the bustling heart of your dominion chaos, would eagerly seize the reign. Scribes are the arbiters of tasks both grand and minor. They calculate taxes, measure harvests, and record each and every edict you decree, fingers gliding with precision as they document the affairs of state that shape an entire civilization. Imagine them as the ancient Egyptians' indispensable laptops, handling data with as much care as papyrus allows. Their skills passed down through generations like trade secrets etched into the sands of time. Underneath the hustle of their dusty chambers, amidst the bustle of transcription, They engage in their own hieroglyphic balletta choreography that flickers with the rhythm of the reed. Each glyph adds weight to the royal word, amplifying the authority of a pharaoh already seen as divine. And while you reign from atop your regal perch, it is these scribes who translate the vision into reality, their scripted paths carving the direction of your kingdom. You, standing above the interlocking bureaucracy, find some humor in the inevitable and universal frustrations of paperwork. I may command the wind, but land the tax documents in Chem, and still might I find delay, you chuckle, acknowledging that even divine mandates meet misinterpretation in the labyrinth of administration. The network of scribes offers a fascinating glimpse into social dynamics across the ages. They are trusted, respected, and occasionally feared, a reminder that knowledge is power, and those who control it wield considerable influence. Choose unwisely, and a clerk's error might spark a beacon of revolt, much like the sun's redirective glare. Select astutely, and legible laws glide through society as smooth as a Nile river bark under Ra's auspicious glance. Historians still argue over whether these scribes truly held sway over policies or were merely passive conduits of power, their contribution to the state's integrity undeniably crucial. There is a quirky camaraderie among them, a kinship born from long hours spent bent over their workbenches. They craft light-hearted, if not slightly conspiratorial, jokes much like the one that claims a scribal error is the only thing faster than a Nile crocodile. They navigate an endless torrent of temple donations and harvest tallies with a wit sharper than their quills, thriving in the spaces between lines and margins of papyrus. Through this complex mosaic of bureaucracy, which seems both labyrinthine and elegantly simple, emerges a delicate efficiency that forms the backbone of Egyptian governance. This unerring bureaucratic ballet, contrasted by the hypnotic cadence of sand trickling through a reed clock's hourglass, seems to embody the kingdom's very essence. This diligent scribe corps embodies the organizational structure that reflects Egypt's resilientian invention, as astonishing as it is enduring. And as the sun dips below the horizon, leaving a purple bruise glow across the lands, you think upon the vast, unseen ledger of deeds and duties completed under your watch. The papyrus rolls, stacked high and sealed with hieroglyphic authority, capture not just moments of power, but the ebbing and flowing tides of everyday life. With the stars now emerging to assert dominion over night's kingdom, the calm takes root, and you turn your thoughts to the ever-watchful scribes who remain, quill in hand, as steadfast guardians of your legacy. They form a steady current beneath the roaring falls of time, ensuring that the chronicles of your reign continue to dance across scrolls far into the future, their whispers lost among the soft rustles of turning pages. Thus, you retire for the evening, comforted by the unyielding equilibrium forged by the dancers of glyphs, knowing they shall script your narrative, securing the footholds of eternity, upon which you and your kingdom stand. With a sigh woven from both fatigue and contentment, you embrace the blessed realm of dreams, where scribes immortalize your reign with a tenor parallel only to that of the celestial narratives painted across the shimmering night sky. With the break of dawn, the golden light flooding the temple walls imbues the scenes of offering and tribute depicted on their surfaces with a vibrant life of their own. The air, fragrant with the aroma of incense and simmering spices, tempts you into a day filled with the hallowed dance of diplomacy, the constant balance of foreign influence and trade, elements as crucial and intricate as the hieroglyphs adorning your temple walls. As Pharaoh, your role is not only as king and god, but as a steward of Egypt's wealth, a deflector of foreign ambitions, and a master negotiator amid the arena of Mediterranean and sub-Saharan intercourses. Each relationship with empires beyond the Nile Delta, whether across the blessed Levantine shores, or the rich Arabian oasis sketched in delicate threads of trade agreements and treaties, places as slippery as Nile perch, and far more formidable. The throne room, where golden light pours in from windows set high in the colonnades, becomes the stage for audiences with emissaries from lands both near and far. They arrive wrapped in garments that tell tales of their distant lands, bearing gifts that speak of a desire for warm relations, and perhaps tacit defense alliances. From cedars of Lebanon to cushioned pelts from Nubian patrons, these tributes pay homage not just to you, but to a sprawling dynasty embodying power and wealth. With each diplomatic overture comes potential prosperity that must be deftly sewn into the tapestry of peace. It is a dance of tongues and intentions, facilitated over meticulously prepared feasts, where offerings of finely ground spices and jugs of once-distant wine play their parts on the gilded scene. Historians still argue about whether such diplomatic feasting forged stronger ties than letters sealed by royal scarabs, a testament to Egypt's enduring strategy of soft power. Within the buzzing halls of diplomacy, you navigate between the politics of granting trading concessions or striking deals underpinned by victory promises, scribes capturing every word with their keen ears and sharper reeds. The language of these negotiations often weaves humor beneath its intricacies. Foreign envoys quick to jest about Egypt's obsession with monumental statues, or the leisurely pace of a land whose king takes eternity seriously. Yet, even as you engage in the jestful camaraderie of diplomacy, the undercurrents that swirl about remain a deft reminder of the realm's latent complexity. The delicate balance among empire competitors and counterpart rulers stands in precarious equilibrium. Your task is to harness foreign influence to bolster Egypt, transforming alliances into lead upon papyrus that secures border peace and a flow of gold and goods. Beyond these walls, the fruits of trade are woven throughout the land like a life-giving Nile branch. Luxurious fabrics appear in bustling markets, spilling vibrant greens and royal blues upon the street stalls, alongside papyrus reeds scrolled into glittering ink. Each transaction buzzes with life, tying communities and economies seamlessly together beneath Ra's watchful gaze. Amidst this dance of trade and terrain, it's easy to sketch humor into the narrative. Imagine joking about how Egypt's flow of olive oil from Crete might yet find alternative service greasing the wheels of chariots over more palatable options. Or how a trade route through the treacherous Sinai Strait speaks not just to bravery, but to an insatiable desire for the finest Cypriot copper and Aegean art. But here, engaging partners across borders isn't merely strategic, it's also intellectual and spiritual. An art deftly wielded by a Pharaoh alert with both the world's beauty and its hidden fragility. Underneath layers of agreements and tokens signed with escarps and seals, trading partners often evolve into cultural bridges, girded by memos of shared ideas as they navigate seasonal monsoons, desert storms, and shifts in power. As the day wanes, the sun dipping beyond the spine of temple columns, traders and diplomats head home bearing hieratic documentation of newly brokered peace, while the flavors of today's endeavors linger in the halls like fading incantations. The buzz of achievement settles into a soothing hum, with thoughts returning to the peace sustained by careful diplomacy where the resonance echoes not merely within borders, but between worlds. As the stars populate the night sky, twinkling along with the boat tossing atop tomorrow's waves, you reflect once more on the fruitful diplomatic day's yield. The steady stream of tribute, handwritten edicts, and winemaking allies fortify both your reign and the gallery of civilization's transcendent continuity, enriching all under the spread of your benevolent rule. Thus, as you retire to your chambers, lulled by the gentle lullaby of a night breeze, you embrace the cleaning arms of mythological lore that gather your vision unto tomorrow. These peaceful images set into motion with convictions share tangible proof of trade-embraced realms rest, entwined both in storage and your dreams, whispering softly of prosperous tomorrows yet to unfurl under the auspicious Egyptian stars. As the first light of dawn spills over the horizon, you stand poised to undertake another day of rule, where every action echoes through both time and stone. Beyond the obvious duties of governance lies a subtler, yet equally crucial role: the cultivation of a public image, an endeavor intricately tied to artistic patronage and architectural grandiosity. It is within art and architecture that the pharaoh embeds his legacy, creating a narrative that will speak louder than any orator and endure longer than any decree. The art that defines your reign serves as more than mere decoration. It acts as a visual symphony, an ever-present reminder of your power and divine favor. Everywhere you look, master sculptors and painters bring life to stone and papyrus, crafting effigies that capture the essence of your rule for millennia. In temples and tombs, colossal statues of your likeness rise against the azure sky, unwavering and eternal, casting long shadows on those who would witness their grandeur. Within the courts of artists and craftsmen, where inspiration is as tangible as the alabaster at their fingertips, you find those who skillfully blend reverence with innovation. They work tirelessly in workshops rich with the scent of stone dust and paint, mixing finely ground pigments into vibrant scenes of divine triumph and earthly conquest. Here, amidst the tools of creation, every stroke of ochre against limestone, acts as a silent endorsement of your enduring presence. Scholars and historians still debate the exact influence of artists within the pharaoh's court were their works purely propaganda or genuine expressions of shared cultural values. Regardless, their sculptures and frescoes play an instrumental role in shaping perceptions, portraying the pharaoh as the unyielding sun, guiding the ship of state through the turbulent seas of fate. The demands of public image cultivate an understanding amid court artisans that mistakes are a luxury they cannot afford, a jest that, despite its humor, carries the weight of truth. Imagine your visage, immortalized, glaring down from a pedestal with its nose amusingly absent, due to a miscalculated chisel stroke. Such was the precision expected. Even time's relentless tide could not erode these crafted visages without encountering centuries of constant vigilance. In the realm of architecture, you express this combination of might and mercy through near-mythical structures, the grand temples and towering obelisks that rise like eternal guardians of the land. These monumental constructions' artistry, given form and dimension, speak a language of stone and silence. Each block and column are whispers of ambition, driven by an insatiable desire to connect with the divine and inspire awe in both the living and the eternal. The construction of these marvels is, of course, no small feat, and often becomes the subject of light-hearted banter. Consider the jest made by weary laborers about how the temples extend ever closer to the sun, as if Ra himself requested a holiday villain experience, captured uniquely within every sketch inscribed onto the temple corridors with craftsman humor. Whether capturing the dynamic scenes of the battlefield or the serenity of divine rituals, this artistic endeavor serves not only as a testament to your reign, but as a guide for countless generations. The twin forces of gods and artistry converge, casting dual lives that are as much about exceptional imagination as they are about preserving truth within the chisel's strike or brush's flourish. As the afternoon sun casts warm, golden light upon these enduring creations, you reflect on their significance. The art and architecture created in your name are more than the sum of their parts. They speak to both the majesty and humility, encompassing the journey from mortal king to divine performer upon the eternal stage. In these moments of reflection, there's humor tightly tucked into tradition. A quip shared among artisans claims that even stones have personalities. Be careful, lest you cross a granite block with thin skin, but beneath this lies an understanding of the delicate harmony between ambition and modesty, divinity and humanity. As evening approaches, soft shades of twilight banishing the day's intensity, you take a moment to admire the unparalleled beauty of your legacy etched into stone. The enduring creations provide a beacon for those who follow, bridging the gap between past and future, history and eternity. Standing within the shadows of these magnificent edifices, you know their presence will endure far beyond the boundaries conceivably drawn around the horizon. Thus, under the celestial canopy, your thoughts linger upon the poetic narrative, the brush strokes and stone kisses capturing fleeting whispers before transfiguring them into echoes timelessly tethered to dreams, kingship, and cosmos. In rhythmic symphony, as eternal night guides day, complexity resolves artfully into tranquil simplicity, yielding peace to those who sleep underneath the quiet watch of immortal stone. As the sun emerges from behind the horizon, painting the land with the colors of dawn, you ponder not only the triumphs of your reign, but also the stumbles that are as much a part of your legacy. Being pharaoh is not just a symphony of ceremonies and successes, it's also a test of humility, fraught with opportunities for missteps and overreaches. These challenges become cautionary tales etched into the annals of history, anchoring the grandeur of leadership with the sobering weight of reality. The throne room is a place where decisions aplenty are made, yet not every decree lands with the grace of a satisfied falcon. There are times when ambition outpaces practicality, leading to initiatives that fumble rather than flourish. Such miscalculations serve as reminders of the fine line walked between human endeavor and divine expectation. A policy intended to fortify the kingdom with grand temples may instead drain resources and spark unwelcome discord among citizens required to labor tirelessly on yet another towering monument. Back in the echoing halls of history, these miscalculations come alive, replayed as lively stories among your advisors and scribes. There is the cheerfully told tale of a pharaoh who attempted to imprint his names within inescapable borders of stone and sand, only to realize that the sycophantic measures led to eerily empty granaries, Even the Nile, with its ceaseless flow, knows the humor in tales of overstretched bounds quaking the plaque of demand, subtly urging the wiser pharaohs toward thoughtful sobriety. Some of these falters emerge from overambition during military exploits, where a campaign intended to extend Egypt's influence ends as a cautionary episode of overreach. Historians still argue whether some of these efforts were driven by legitimate strategic concerns or the product of courtly enthusiasm unchecked by prudence. Either way, the lesson remains. While bravery on the battlefield can reap rewards, it is wisdom and calculated restraint that truly sustain an empire. And then there are the domestic policies that resonate through the kingdom. Attempts at reform, especially those that affect the everyday lives of your people, from altering tax structures to imposing new rights, must be navigated with a delicate hand. There's a tale of fiscal policy entwined with clever satire, where numbered taxes resulted in naming festivals with numerical tidings, causing citizens to both groan and guffaw in morose merriment at the absurdity of getting punned upon by economics. Even a pharaoh's personal life can drip into the tributaries of public perception, where choices made within the privacy of palatial walls reverberate beyond their barbed confines. The personal becomes political, underscoring the sheer impossibility of privacy for those crowned rulers, in a land where every whisper carries weight, where scrolls of rumors flutter not far behind papyrus-wrapped edicts. Yet, with each mistake inherent in your storied reign, emerges an unforeseen opportunity for reflection and growth. They are not merely tales of failure, but memos of caution written upon the scrolls of time, like sketches on a draftsman's board. Amid the grandeur of your reign, these moments humanize the deified ruler, spoken as sage axioms among those who succeed you. While it is easy to look back at these blunders and shake a bemused head, each teaches valuable lessons, embedding wisdom with every stumble, crafting a path for others who seek to guide future populous footsteps. To acknowledge and learn from them is to stitch them into the larger tapestry of growth, ensuring they contribute to, rather than detract from, your enduring legacy. As the day fades, a soothing spectre to the sun's initial pomp, you draw comfort from knowing that no reign, no matter how resplendent, is without its humbling moments. Under an obliging sky that offers stars to light the paths of dreams, you continue to refine your understanding of both yourself and the kingdom you serve. Each fleeting fall in step becomes a testament to your capacity for resilience, offering a bridge toward tomorrow and the promise of progress. So, with humility alongside you like an ever-faithful companion, you contemplate the journey to protect and enrich the land entrusted to your care. As you drift into the welcoming embrace of night, serenaded by the gentle lullaby of the Nile's flow, you possess confidence in the morning's golden lighter, hope that with every dawn, wisdom nourishes the path, forging strength from stumbles under the ceaseless watch of eternity's gentle eye. As the first rays of the Egyptian sun cast their resplendent glow upon temple spires, the delicate dance between religious duty and political maneuvering seizes your thoughts. As Pharaoh, you stand at the intersection of two powerful influence, divinity and pragmatism, each wielding an undeniable force over the course of your reign. Balancing these elements requires not just a mastery of ceremonial piety, but also a keen understanding of the shifting sands of realpolitik. Throughout the sacred precincts where stone guardians and lotus blooms reside, you perform rituals of divine communion that underscore your role as an intermediary between the gods and the realm of man. At dawn, you join the high priests within the temple's inner sanctum, where the air is imbued with the soothing fragrance of incense, and the echoes of ancient hymns soar toward the heavens. As the living manifestation of Horus, you renew your sacred bond with the divine, echoing a vow of guardianship over not just the spiritual heart, but the very soul of Egypt. These rituals are more than ceremonial layers sculpted from time's unyielding hands. They serve as visible reminders of your celestial endorsement. They secure divine favor not only for the pharaoh but for the kingdom at large, bestowing blessings that ripple like the pulse of a Nile flood throughout the land. Yet, alongside preserving this divine connection, you must also navigate political currents, weaving together the delicate threads of faith with practical necessities that anchor your rule firmly to the earth. Historians still argue whether religion was purely a means of power in Pharaoh's hands or a genuine expression of spiritual acuity. In reality, it seems these two forces are as inseparable as the braided fringes of ceremonial garb, the sacred and the secular waltzing through the halls of power side by side. Within the hushed chambers of councillor gatherings, where politics unveils its labyrinthine dance, your decisions carry the weight of both realms. The council's deliberations, mundane yet significant as a slow-shifting monument, offer glimpses into the overriding pulse of the kingdom: the management of resources, the maintenance of dynastic stability, and the navigation of foreign relations. The administrators who populate these discussions are tasked with addressing the day-to-day minutiae that keep the kingdom's lifeblood flowing. Herein lies another ironia, jest exchanged between palace walls that implies divinity loses meaning when confronted with daily tax projections. Behind the strategic deployment of troops, or the oversight of elaborate agricultural programs, lies an essential interplay. Your divine stature lends authority to earthly matters, while successful administration solidifies your godlike status. Angling between these spheres grants the pharaoh a unique power: both mediator and monarch, politician and priest. Though fraught with complexities, this balance yields opportunities. High priests serve as advisors whose perspectives are often limited by spiritual optics, while viziers weigh in with their pragmatic calculations. Your challenge is to harmonize these differing views, constructing policies that are both inspired by divine mandate and tempered by human understanding. Even beyond statecraft, these dual obligations invite intrigue and jest alike. Imagine the humorous commentary about how during temple rituals, Pharaoh's voice piercing the incense-thick air brings not only echoing prayers but hints of negotiation veiled within divine decrees. After all, when gods and men unite in governance, there's bound to be room for a little divine wit. As the sun reaches its zenith and begins its slow descent, you steal a moment beneath the sheltering canopy of a temple portico. Here, you reflect on a kingdom bound to the interconnected roles of divine and political ruler-tenets, dancing alongside each other like sacred ibis in tandem flight. Through the ages, this delicate balance serves as a cornerstone of Egypt's enduring resilience. It's a fusion honored within stone carvings, echoed in chants, and chronicled on papyrus, a testament to the longevity fostered by harmony of the spiritual with the worldly. When night settles in, dimming the vibrant colors of the day into subdued hues of calm, you return to your chamber. Cared for by stars that weave their haven overhead, you sleep with the peaceful assurance that the divine and pragmatic elements that stir within your reign are firmly interwoven. Their blending forms a nuanced inheritance, a guide stitched into a path for successors eager to follow in your footsteps, bound by the enduring legacies of faith and state, unraveling as twin threads throughout the timeless adobe of Egypt. Thus, you succumb to the inviting lull of dreams, where celestial embraces join earthly hopes and bear you into sunrise, ready to uphold the monarchy for another day. The chilled air of morning holds the promise of discovery as dew glistens on lotus buds, catching the first light and reflecting the dynamic interplay between hierarchy and legacy. Today, your attention turns to the ancient art of inscription and the intricacies of narrative preservation through hieroglyphs, a domain where imagery and language transcend mere communication to forge a path toward immortality. As pharaoh, you wield a powerful tool, the ability to shape the narrative of your reign through the inscriptions carved onto timeless stone and the scrolls of papyrus unfurled with each sunrise. These records are far more than documentation. They are meticulously curated portraits of divinity, strength, and prosperity intended to echo through the ages. They record not just events, but the mythos of your leadership, a legacy etched in eternal lines for future generations to behold. The art of crafting a narrative within the hieroglyphs is an elaborate dance among scribes trained in the sacred craft of deciphering speech into symbols. These skilled artisans work restlessly, their ebony-stained fingers darting deftly across parchment with the grace of cranes, ensuring that the pharaoh's deeds are immortalized beyond the confines of a single lifetime. For, as it's often murmured with wry amusement among the scribes, words are the pharaoh's breath, but stone is his spirit. Your day begins with a visit to the halls of the scriptorium, where the air is alive with the earthy aroma of fresh ink and the subtle rustle of papyrus. Here, amid a chorus of scratching quills, the translation of your vision into enduring stories and grand events are given life through laborious craftsmanship. The strokes of their pens articulate tales of victory and divine favor, each character meticulously constructed to uphold the divine image cast by your reign. Every symbol conveys deeper significance. The beetle denotes rebirth, the ankh signifies life, whilst the eye of Horus watches diligently over our gleaming ward of perception and protection. As you survey the work, you might smile to hear a familiar jest weaving through the corridors, that no scarab has ever skittered into a cartouche by accident, for even the gods shake their heads at inaccuracy. But within each light-hearted comment lies a reverence for the weight each inscription must bear. Historians still argue about the extent to which these narratives were propaganda, seeking to bolster a carefully constructed public image, or genuine attempts to encapsulate the pharaoh's vision for eternity. Regardless, they reveal the monarchy's finesse in narrative control, each arching line and precise angle fostering a mythos resilient to the sands of time. Yet the beauty of the hieroglyphs extends beyond mere words. They embody art itself, turning temple walls, columns, and papyrus into tapestries of life, mapped with intricate detailing. Scenes depicting the pharaoh bestowing offerings to the gods flow seamlessly into renditions of military conquests, harvests, and celestial festivals. These images stand as a fusion of history and prophecy, an immortal refrain in the Song of Civilization. As the day unfolds, you move to the granite columns of a temple courtyard, where craftsmen shape towering obelisks swathed in chiseled narratives. Here, stonemasons employ age-old techniques to transform inert blocks into towering witnesses of ambition, stacking eternity into every syllable spoken by the chisel's precise dialogue with stone. Each new temple or monument becomes a chapter of the chronicle, an essential piece of an ever-evolving legacy, a masterpiece to capture the sun's rays as they dance downwards, casting epistles too brilliant for shadows. Amid the tasks of statecraft, you embrace the wisdom that while monuments rise, it is the inscribed legends that define their spirit, conferring a human touch upon these monolithic giants. Into the vastness of time, these records seep, tracking a lineage of rulers stretching from Amun to the rich green shores of the Nile, where your people's future blossoms, cultivated amid the branches of a past deeply rooted. As twilight draws near, surrendering to the embrace of a starlit night, you retreat, contemplating the inevitable connection between word and being. The repertoire written into stone and papyrus forms not only a narrative, but a bridge-building links to the generations yet unborn. Thus, nestled beneath an ever-watchful firmament, you seek solace in the knowledge that within the quills and chisels lie the heartbeats of pharaohs, intoning their message, unbroken by the passage of millennia. Secure in your influence upon this world, you dream of a time when these tales may weave anew the tapestry of the living, binding yesterday's wisdom to tomorrow's promise. In this serene slumber, the ink unfurls like a sail, guiding you silently through the annals told and untold, cloaking your legacy with softly spun threads, a testament, buried only to rise again through history's infinite embrace. As the sun begins its daily journey across the azure expanse, casting light on the land both sacred and sovereign, you prepare to navigate yet another intricate realm, the court, where whispers of scandals echo around timeless columns and delicate veils of propriety conceal the undercurrents of intrigue. Within the confines of the royal palace, beyond alabaster walls and opulent chambers, lies the human element of the divine monarchy, the relentless tides of rumor and the subtle art of navigating personal and political scandal. Being pharaoh does not exempt you from intrigue. Indeed, it seems to draw it closer, like moths to the flickering flame of power. Behind the regal facade of the throne, enveloped in silken textiles and gold leaf, tales bloom, propagated by nobles and servants alike, who find delight in navigating beneath the radar of hierarchy. In the bustling heart of the palace, bustling activity unfolds in the royal kitchens and lavish gardens, where gossip flows as abundantly as the Nile, each conversation bearing hints of romantic liaisons, ambition-driven allegiances, and whispered dissent. Here, beneath the filtered light of tall windows, the court pulses with stories that blend just enough truth with exaggeration to ingrain themselves into enduring lore. Among these tales are the real and imagined indiscretions, each woven into the fabric of court life. The burgeoning perfumes left in empty corridors hint at particularly clandestine rendezvous, or so the jest goes. The allure of scandal can be as captivating as it is mischievous, an exotic spice mixed into the otherwise rigid routine of royal days. Within this tapestry of hearsay, you tread carefully, constantly aware of how perceptions could shift the balances of power. Navigating court intrigue is akin to mastering a game played on a living board, where every peace courtier, advisor, or rival moves with purpose, driven by ambition, fear, or favoritism. You cultivate a network of confidants reliable enough to provide intelligence, without allowing these narratives to fester or mutate beyond control. Scribes and tellers of tales command a certain influence within this sphere, their words morphing into whispers that pulse beneath the polished silence of statues. This complex dance emerges as a sequence of theatre and subtlety, filled with unfamiliar alliances and silent feuds that weave in and out of palace life. A particularly humorous tale from ages gone by involves a visiting dignitary who, misunderstanding backhanded compliments about his appearance, found himself awkwardly caught in the churn of masked satire. Historians still argue whether such rumors serve to distract from political deficiencies, or simply embellish the human aspect of a pharaoh's reign, breathing vivid life into otherwise mundane proceedings. Either way, they capture the peculiarity of a society where gods and mortals interlace, bestowing divine authority unto the mundane. Yet, these entanglements of the court offer occasional truths as you peer beyond the gilded surfaces of pretense and image. They reveal the frailty and strength inherent in human hearts, bestowing upon you the awareness that the crown is both shield and spotlight, rendering the private eternal and the eternal private. In managing these antics, humor often tugs at the edges of solemnity. Consider the jest that a pharaoh's presence alone can reduce scandal to comedy. It suggests divine mediation, juxtaposed against secular hilarity, lends audacity to chaos itself. As the day wanes and the opulent glow of dusk spills across stone corridors, bathing them in amber light, you retire from the sprawling panorama of courts and private councils. Being pharaoh means inhabiting dual worlds, one inundated with celestial duty, and the other prone to whispers of humanity's frailty. While night settles in, and the court shifts once more into gentle repose, veils of shadows embrace you with whispered laughter. These are echoes of stories yet to be written, stories not through scandals untold, but through deft stewardship of the heart, crafting a realm drawn from the loom of divinity, managed with a distinctly human touch. Thus, as your eyes close to dreams and the transformative embrace of restorative slumber, you find solace in the knowledge that beneath the astral votary of night lies a collection of tales woven and spun, lending meaning to the dance between myth and reality, between the past's mysteries and the future's unveiled horizon. In the silent realms of sleep, you yield to echoes of human repercussion, a serene balance that cradles sovereign wisdom with the sweet hum of court intrigues sung softly into eternity's hostless chambers. As the morning light swells across the Egyptian horizon, tracing paths of illumination over pyramids and temples, you confront a matter that holds sway over the entire kingdom: the delicate and often tumultuous process of succession. In a world where the stability of an empire hinges upon the seamless passage of power, the road to succession is fraught with uncertainty and potential peril. You must navigate these waters with a blend of foresight and strategy, ensuring that your legacy continues uninterrupted by the divisive forces lurking within the human heart. The palace hums with anticipation as advisors and scribes gather within the vast council chamber, the air thick with the scent of papyrus and the gravity of decisions yet to be made. Here, beneath high-vaulted ceilings and amidst sculptures eternal, the weight of succession settles upon you, a tangible force, requiring every ounce of judicious discernment. For it is not just a question of lineage, but of vision, temperament, and the lasting impact upon generation after generation of Egyptians who look to you for continuity and prosperity. Your court is a tapestry composed of familial ties and political undercurrents, each thread interwoven with ambitions and allegiances that twist and turn like the river Nile. Among potential contenders lie potential pitfall siblings, eyeing the throne with covert jealousy, or distant relatives establishing alliances through subtler gestures. Such figures navigate the court with the agility of a panther, cloaked in smiles as enigmatic as the riddles posed by ancient sphinxes. You must choose wisely from among your offspring, balancing virtues and wisdom, seen and unseen. The young, keen to inherit the mantle of your reign, offer glimpses of promising futures, yet each choice harbors the specter of contention. Imagine the whispers from far-flung corners, the jest that selecting a successor is as easy as persuading a crocodile to skip a meal. Even here, in the solemnity of legacy planning, humor finds its place. The right of succession is not just an earthly affair, it's a matter attuned to divine opinion, for the pharaoh reigns as a conduit of the gods. The same ceremonies that affirm your sovereignty must herald the ascent of your heir, with priests and oracle seers offering insights that bear divine sanction. Historians still argue whether divine favor was as crucial as political shrewdness, but when such forces conspire, the handover of power transforms from mere administration to a celestial performance. During these deliberations, court life takes on a tenor of almost theatrical intensity. Beneath roofs adorned with symbolic reeds and serpents, the atmosphere is alive with expectations sideways, glances exchanged, and conversations rich in subtext. The genuine worry embedded in each choice ripples throughout the kingdom, mirrored by the people's hope for continuity, wisdom, and peace. You spend countless hours in private council, poring over genealogy alongside the oracular forecasts, consulting with trusted advisors whose varied perspectives reinforce the enormity of the responsibility. Still, in this orchestration of fate, you understand that genuine oversight extends beyond mere bloodline. Involves nurturing those who bring an intrinsic ability to navigate the kingdom through trials yet unseen. The prospect of succession allows a window into the soul of the dynastian opportunity to rethink and renew, to inject new vigor into the ancient veins of an enduring lineage. As plans crystallize, you confidently envision the seamless passage of the crown to steadfast hands, blessed with the knowledge of their role, molded through years embedded in statecraft sanctity. As night settles in, draping your kingdom in violet shadows, the palace grounds embrace a serene stillness, ushering in a sense of resolution and quiet hope. The torches flicker along the limestone paths, tracing whispers of past pharaohs whose bloodline, through ages long embedded in the earth, aligns like stars. With the stars extending their centuries-wide embrace, anchoring legacy to the promise of an unfolding tomorrow, you drift into restful slumber. In dreams, you envision a kingdom nurturing continuity, progressing under the steady gaze of those who must and will follow. Their footsteps merge with yours, adding layers of memory to the corridors of enduring divinity. Secure in the tranquility of succession wisely conceived, you invite the balm of sleep, a canvas upon which the future pharaohs, those descendants poised like untouched papyrus, unfurl destiny beneath the mighty canopy of gods and dreams, sacred to both earth and sky. As the Nile unfurls its indigo ribbon through the heart of Egypt, painting a path of life upon the parched ochre landscape, you cast your gaze toward this mighty river, a deity in its own right, whose annual rhythms dictate both the prosperity and stability of your kingdom. The Nile is more than a river. It is the lifeblood of Egypt, the slender thread upon which the entirety of the realm is woven. And your role, as pharaoh, is to ensure the harmonious balance between man and water, a partnership as old as the pyramids themselves. Amidst the verdant floodplains that burst into life with each annual inundation, fields of emmer, barley, and flax sway gently in the warm breeze, whispering their testament to the river's bounty. As pharaoh, you oversee this delicate dance of water management and agriculture, ensuring that each year's inundation renews the land without overwhelming it. The systems of canals and basins, nature's geometry, shaped into order, speak to generations of ingeniously crafted agricultural practices that tame the river's flow. Yet the task remains a daunting one, for even the one who claims kinship with the divine must concede supremacy to nature's whims. In wry humor, courtiers might jest that even Ra himself consults the Nile before deciding his daily route across the heavens. The role of domestication requires vigilance and a mastery of logistics. Water diverted into irrigation channels transforms arid plains into orchards and fields, their yields offering sustenance not just for your subjects, but as burgeoning trade with lands flanking the Mediterranean. Managing these resources is akin to balancing on a reed bridge over the eternal river. The stakes are high, and every move must be calculated for its impact on the kingdom's future. Historians still argue whether the engineering feats that underpinned this agricultural mastery were spearheaded by pharaohs or the imaginative skill of Egypt's broader populace. Nonetheless, the convergence of divine decree with practical innovation illuminates the pharaoh's role as mediator, not just ruler, of the Nile's gifts. The mighty river is enshrouded in mythology as much as practicality, its cycles mirrored by the rituals that seek to secure its favor. Priests perform elaborate ceremonies, appealing to Hapi, the god of the inundation, their chants weaving through temple walls as offerings are cast into the water. As pharaoh, you attend these ceremonies, anointing the riverbanks with sacred oils meant to capture the attention of divine forces, a blend of piety and diplomacy, ever crucial in maintaining the symphony of existence. Amidst this realm of ritual and reverence, you're reminded of the delicate continuum between surplus and scarcity. The people look to you, through labor or thanksgiving, for assurance that their toil and faith will yield bountiful food. Thus, when drought, that most unwelcome of guests, prowls close, your leadership must inspire resilience, drawing on reserves and carefully managed stores, lest the whispers of discontent take root. Despite these challenges, the river offers its own remedial source of humor, occasionally trailing through palace corridors like the afternoon breeze. The audacious quip that a crook and flail double more as farming tools than royal symbols never fails to draw a smile. As another day wanes, and the golden tones of sunset seal the landscape with their gentle glow, you watch from high stone terraces as the last light hits the Nile's rippling surface, turning it into a river of liquid fire. Here, under the broadening dusk, you revel in the comfortable knowledge that whatever challenges the river may bring, its prevailing essence shelters its promise. A conduit of existence intertwined with the heritage embedded among ancient soil and reeds. Secure beneath the veil of starlit continuity, you seek rest in the embrace of the night sky, soothed by the gentle susurrus of water, embracing land a timeless serenade, whispering the secret of balance and renewal. In dreams, your imagination spans the great river's breadth, capturing shards of its ancient wisdom to guide another dawn. Tomorrow, you will rise again as guardian of this sacred bond, with the enduring hope that the river's favor will ever nurture, and through its braided currents, carry forth your unbroken legacy. As the first whispers of dawn unfurl across the sprawling landscape, the air is rich with a solemn sense of purpose. Today, your thoughts turn to the inevitable, the transition from this world to the next, a passage intimately entwined with the heart of Egyptian belief in immortality. The rituals of death and the process of mummification are not just acts of preservation. They are sacred rites that bridge the physical with the ethereal, offering the hope of eternal life in the kingdom of Osiris. Within the cool, shadowed chambers of temples and mortuary complexes, skilled embalmers undertake the painstaking task of preparing for the afterlife. As Pharaoh, you observe the reverent craft that transforms the flesh into an everlasting vessel, a process that speaks to centuries of refined tradition, deeply rooted in spiritual necessity. These artisans work with the dexterity of a sculptor crafting an eternal effigy, their hands moving with ritual precision over alabaster jars and sacred oils. The scent of cedar oil mingles with the aroma of incense as the body is carefully anointed and wrapped, layer upon layer of linen, encasing the form in a cocoon of transformation. The embalmers chant quietly, invoking deities to bless the journey to the afterlife, their voices weaving an ethereal melody that hums through the air like the rhythm of an eternal heart. This process is a testament to the Egyptian mastery of art, science, and faith, a seamless blend that stands as a defiant whisper against the inevitability of time. Historians still argue over the exact techniques and ingredients used by these ancient masters, but the enduring results speak for themselves. The silent ranks of mummies preserved across millennia stand as witnesses to the skill and devotion of those who dared to capture eternity in linen and resin. This sacred journey is meticulously chronicled within the Book of the Dead, a compendium of spells and incantations designed to guide the soul safely through the treacherous landscape of the Duat, the underworld. These texts, inscribed on papyrus and entombed alongside the deceased, map the trials and triumphs that lie ahead, offering protection and passage through each celestial challenger roadmap to immortality transcribed by those left behind. Amid the solemnity of these preparations, the lighter aspects remain. The court is not without its humor, however reverent. Jests are exchanged about the priest's fervent recitation of spells, ensuring the departed spirit remembers the words better than the living recall lunch orders. Such levity serves to remind, in its own gentle way, that even in the gravest matters, humanity's irrepressible spirit persists. Above the rituals and sacred texts floats the ever-present symbol of the scarab beetle Hepri, the god of rebirth, whose eternal cycle embodies the very essence of life renewed. Look upon the tomb walls where scenes of offering and eternity unfold, each hieroglyphic stroke a prayer set in stone. The tomb becomes not a place of finality, but a threshold of transformation, rendered in hues and symbols, echoing the cosmos. In the depths of prepared tombs stand an array of Shabti figurines, each crafted to serve as a servant in the life beyond, ensuring the pharaoh's needs are attended to for all eternity. These protective sentinels, nestled among treasures and symbols of power, speak to the rituals that bind the living to the realm of the Deida, legacy of care and continuity amid the sands of time. As the sun reaches its zenith, you take solace in the knowledge that through the reverential embrace of these traditions, every pharaoh is secured a place within the celestial kingdom, their legacy bound within the flourishing Nile's cradle, mirrored by eternity's promise in the constellations above. When evening descends, draping the land in a dark, starlit canopy, your thoughts turn wistful. As pharaoh, the certainty of your own journey to the afterlife is a tether to both duty and divinity. It is more than just an end, it is a continuation, the inevitable bridge between realms where the soul finds refuge amid the eternal embrace of stars and gods. In these quiet moments, as the universe unfurls its mysteries in the celestial dome, you rest with the assurance that underneath the warm embrace of earth and fabric lies the essence of your being, a portion of eternity, lovingly prepared and safeguarded by your faith and the hands of your loyal custodians. Ultimately, resting upon this enduring legacy, you drift into slumber, escorted by dreams that blend life and myth, binding the earthly and the eternal, with a gentle caress whispering promises of a journey's beginning rather than its end. With the tranquil dawn spreading its fingers across the ancient landscape, you find yourself contemplating a curious phenomenon, the enduring modern fascination with the Pharaohs of fascination that transcends time and speaks volumes in its constant allure. While centuries have passed since the golden ages of the Egyptian dynasties, the image of the pharaoh remains etched in the global imagination, an immortal presence that continues to captivate hearts and minds. Museums worldwide pride themselves on housing Egyptian artifacts, each piece a fragment of a bygone era, yet radiating a timeless elegance and mystery that draws countless eyes. Hieroglyphs calling across millennia reveal glimpses of forgotten stories, each scribe's careful hand pulling history into the corridors of the present. It's as though the pharaohs, long laid to rest, continue to rule from their stone-throned repose, their whispers carried on desert zephyrs that span the vast distances between temporal shores. This enduring allure is not confined to the static silence of museums. The pharaohs have, in modern times, inspired a multifaceted exploration through cinema, literature, and pop culture, each interpretation painting them with strokes of both reverence and romance. Consider the cinematic depictions that enfold the viewer within grand narratives of revenge, love, and intrigue movie magic, daring to capture the opulence and drama of ancient reigns. Here, the pharaohs are brought to life under flickering lights, their stories woven into the dreams of audiences who, for a moment, find themselves on ancient thrones. Historians still debate why these ancient rulers continue to enchant us so. Is it the echo of divine authority that resonates so deeply within the human psyche? Or perhaps it is the sheer audacity of their architectural wonders, pyramids and tombs, that rise majestically from the desert floor, enduring monuments to their makers' ambitions. Regardless, it's undeniable that a certain mystique surrounds the figures of the pharaohs, like a precious amulet that remains forever luminous. Their divine aura and power structures intrigue, and so do their vulnerabilities, their struggles, intrigues, and personal challenges translate universal human experiences. Imagine the humor in modern human endeavors, where, amidst tweets and trending topics, the timelessness of pharaohs serving as memes where their likeness strives for daily relevance, rendered with witticisms that might prompt a grin, even within the stone-silent corridors of the past. In exploration and innovation, echoes of the pharaoh's diligent pursuits find parallels within contemporary realms, the fine dance of cosmology and societal order, the relentless drive toward understanding life's mysteries. Researchers embark on archaeological expeditions retracing the footsteps of kings and queens, seeking knowledge buried in soils of history, as they meticulously brush sands away, revealing once vibrant tapestries of life. At a more reflective level, these ancient rulers' ability to craft a legacy so enduring captivates a world that often wrestles with its own temporal nature, pondering how best to cultivate influences that defy time's ceaseless hand. Among these ponderings, the pharaohs provide a reference point, an illustrious vision of aspiration's heights, even as they illustrate the earthly bounds of mortality. As the sun reaches its zenith, casting shadows across the familiar curves of the landscape, you sense the interconnectedness of the Aege's woven fabric of life, and belief extending into infinity. It's a testament that speaks across epochs, assuring us of the endless cycle of wonderment that renews with each discovery and each retelling. When night unfurls its tapestry of stars, each one mirrors an infallible truth history's light. Gleaming through the darknesses, you find a quiet place beneath this celestial canopy. Here, thoughts drift to the enduring legacy of the Pharaohs, serving as guides for the human journey through eternity, stitched together with a thread as thin as a reed and as strong as the mountain. In this nocturnal embrace, resting your eyes upon the twin worlds of past and present, you wonder how future generations will envision these ancient stories, how far their own explorations of the self and society will take them, yet ever drawn back to this captivating epoch. And as dreams take hold, they weave into a continuum where the spirit and grandeur of the Pharaohs remain, forever interlaced within the fabric of human curiosity and aspiration, a luminous presence in the eternally evolving journey of life. As the new day's light spills gently over the ancient sands, gilding them in a soft golden hue, you prepare for the final stretch of this journey-winding path that has spanned the epochs of Egypt's illustrious pharaohs. In this moment of reflection, you find solace in the weaving of narratives that have bound each leader to their eternal resting place, a testament to both their divine imprints upon this world and the quintessential humanity beneath the veneer of godhood. The tale of the Pharaohs is woven from diverse threads of tapestry that blends duty with grandeur, challenge with triumph, and divinity with humanity. It is a reminder that immortality is crafted not only from the stones of pyramids but within the memories etched into the corridors of time. Together we have traversed the corridors of history, witnessed the grand edifices of ambition stretching toward the heavens, and delved into the tales of resilience against the harshness of time and environment. As your journey approaches its culmination, you stand amidst these eternal monuments and ponder the complex legacies crafted by the delicate hands of fate. Each pharaoh, with their flaws and triumphs, adds their own hue to the continuum, a long, radiant thread within the grand narrative of life and leadership. The wisdom passed down from eras long imperceptible remains a silent guide. Beneath the weight of crowns lies a timeless truth shared by all sovereigns, that leadership is an eternal balancing act, a bridge between worlds where myth and reality coexist beneath Ra's eternal gaze. As the day's brilliant light begins to wane, the horizon washed in hues of crimson and lavender, you find your place amidst the stars, those ancient watchers who bore witness to the rise and fall of empires. Their untiring vigilance is a testament to the persistence of legacies, shimmering across the velvet tapestry of the sky as a reminder of continuity in the grand cycle of life. In this moment of serene completion, buoyed by the whispers of ages and the gentle caress of the desert breeze, you lay back and embrace the encompassing sense of peace that destiny has brought to this journey's end. The Nile murmurs softly nearby, flowing eternally, like a never-ending testament to life, and the myriad stories it holds in its embrace. The echoes of past pharaohs surrender to the sands, as the night folds gently around you, a calm, timeless pause in the endless flux of time. As you drift into a restful slumber, allow yourself the luxury of this pause, the twilight of scores laid to rest. Here, beneath the ancient canopy of firmament daisies, where families of stars mark paths yet unwritten and songs yet unsung, let tranquility enfold you. Let the narratives of Egypt's eternal monarchs cradle you into restful dreams, that oceanic lapse after which you awaken anew, inspired by the stories penned along the Nile. Beneath the nurturing watch of those ancient myths, you remember a truth simple and profound, that pharaohs and kings like you and I are part of an unbroken chain within life's grand wheel. Sweet dreams.